Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Lara, or Lara Likes Mascara. I have been on a conscious consumerism journey for a long while and I make lots of videos about how that journey is going. My channel is all about makeup and most of my videos are pertaining to my journey with conscious consumerism and with trying to curate down my collection to something that is the perfect size makeup collection for me and something that really fits my makeup preferences, which are of course ever changing. I have made quite a few videos about makeup no-buys, why you should go on them, how to stick to them, how to make them fun. And so this video is part of that series. Today I am talking about what to do when you're failing your makeup no-buy. I know that this is super common, so please do not feel too guilty or like upset with yourself if you have not been able to stick to your makeup no-buy perfectly. That is normal, especially if you are at the starting end of this journey or if you have been at it for a long time. Either way, there are challenges associated with the beginning and the middle and with continuing this for a long time. But because I have been doing this for such a long time, I feel like I know how to go about it, how to stick to the makeup no-buy, and what to do when I'm feeling kind of shoppy, like I want new products, and to help myself figure out why I have gotten into that state of mind. So let's talk about what to do when you're having trouble sticking to the makeup no-buy. And I am well aware that a makeup no-buy is not the journey for everyone. For some people, that's just a little bit too much of a commitment. So all of these tips apply to a makeup low buy as well. You can run into the same obstacles and hurdles when you're on a makeup low buy as you can when you're on a makeup no buy. And so all of these tips apply as well to a low buy. So without further ado, let's just get into it. So in my mind, what is happening, the reason you're watching this video today is that you have been committed to doing a makeup no buy for whatever amount of time. Let's say you started at the beginning of 2024 or even at the beginning of June, you know? You've been at it for a few weeks or you've been at it for a few months and you are struggling and there was just a really good sale on e.l.f. or Ulta or whatever and you purchased something that you were not planning on purchasing. It was spontaneous. I mean, you'd seen this product around for a while, but not a lot of thought went into it. And afterwards you immediately felt guilty, but you used it and now you have a new product in your collection. Something to this effect, I imagine, is what's going on with you. Whether you've purchased one new product or 10, you've broken your makeup no buy, you are failing it, and each purchase just sort of leads you deeper and deeper along this route of feeling like it's time to give up on your makeup no buy, and now you're doing worse than you were when you started. So what should you do in this situation? I'm gonna go step by step. I have a few different steps that I feel like are the best course of action if you have slipped up and purchased some products that you were not planning to. So the first one is to evaluate. Figure out what's going on. Don't make any rash decisions. What you gotta do is figure out the why. Why did you break your makeup no buy? Why did you slip up? Interrogate what was going on with you the day that you broke it or the week that you broke it. Were you having a really tough day or a tough week? Had you been thinking about breaking it for a while? Were you getting tired of the makeup no buy and just feeling not super committed at that point, even though when you started the no buy you were really committed, but that just sort of wavered because it's been so long now? Was it directly correlated to something that you saw, whether it was a Sephora ad or an influencer you like talking about a product that they loved and you felt like you needed to buy? Try and figure out what the root cause was of you breaking the no buy, what that point was when you fell off the wagon, because chances are that what made you slip up that first time could be what makes you slip up that second time. So if you going through the mall and passing by Sephora has consistently made you purchase something at Sephora that you were not planning to, then cut out that route. Like either avoid the mall altogether or avoid the floor with Sephora. Or if I don't know, let's say like Julia Adams has consistently been someone who recommends products that you end up loving, maybe what's best to do would be to unfollow her for a few months, or, you know, until the end of the no buy, or until you feel like more secure and more committed to the no buy. Why were you not fully committed to the no buy at that point? Had it been a while since you interacted with content about conscious consumerism and why you should go on a makeup no buy in the first place? Was it that you were seeing more content about consumerism than about conscious consumerism? Did you just have a really, really bad day at work and you wanted to treat yourself? What was the reason? There was probably a very specific reason, and by avoiding that specific trigger in the future, you can hopefully mitigate breaking the no buy in future. So step 1, evaluate. Step 2, plan. See if you can scratch that itch in a different way. So if you know sometimes you're gonna have a bad day, that happened the one time and then you broke the no buy, but like that probably will happen again. Not all of your days are going to be good. So what can you do instead to make yourself feel better rather than buying a makeup product? I do think that buying a little treat can help temporarily, although I wouldn't suggest this as a long-term solution, because, you know, what if every Monday sucks for you and then every Monday you're like, oh, you know, this is my day that I can look forward to buying a new makeup product. You could plan to buy something else instead. Like instead of buying a lip gloss, buy a fun coffee drink or a chocolate croissant, I don't know. But I would kind of tend away from making a purchase, because that's just sort of reinforcing like, oh, bad day equals buy something. And is it in the same realm? You know what I mean? Like, try to make it not about a purchase. Treat yourself to a long bath in the evening, or watch your favorite show or something. Try to find a long-term solution to whatever the problem was. How can you indulge yourself? Figure out what it is that you were craving when you broke the makeup no buy, and then try to indulge yourself in a different way. Was it that you wanted to make a purchase, like you wanted that like little treat feeling? Was it that you wanted something new, like you just wanted that feeling of like newness, a new product, because you didn't have anything new in your life for a while? Was it that you wanted to just walk through the aisles of Sephora and like, you know, look at pictures of people with amazing makeup and just feel the like excitement of a makeup store? What was it specifically that you were feeling the need to scratch? Did you want a new product to play around with? Try to find alternatives for whatever thing that is. If you just wanted a new thing to play around with, like you hadn't had fun with makeup in a while, there's totally ways to do that within the confines of the makeup collection you already have. I would love to have like a burgundy eyeliner. I don't have one, but I do have a burgundy lip liner. So I've been using that as an eyeliner for a while now. It's not perfect, but it totally scratches the itch. I recently have fallen in love with cream blushes, but I only have 3. I have way more powder blushes than cream blushes, but I've been using lipstick as cream blush because I have a variety of colors of lipstick, way more than my variety of cream blush colors. And so that has really helped to scratch that itch. So if you want something new to play around with, to be creative with makeup, there are ways to do that within your own collection. If it's that you wanted a new thing, maybe try and see if you can like treat that in another way. So I personally love clothing swaps. I know I talk about them all of the time. Actually, this shirt is from a clothing swap I went to recently. Clothing swaps are a way to not buy something, but to bring new things into your life, and also a way to declutter things that you no longer want. If you feel like it's an option, you can do a makeup swap with friends, so you can bring things in but not have to buy them. If that is part of why you're on a makeup no buy, not wanting to spend money on makeup, that's kind of a way around it. So just figure out what it is that you were craving and treat that craving in a different way. Just get around it. So that is step 2. Step 3 is to move on. Mentally move on from that purchase. Mentally move on from that feeling of guilt and having failed yourself. This might be a bit counterintuitive, but I think that when we mess up, we make a mistake, we can get really down on ourselves, and this doesn't actually help things. Feeling awful about ourselves is not likely to push ourselves to work harder in the future. In fact, it's just going to reinforce that like negative feeling and make us feel like, oh, I can't even do it. I might as well give up now. Not all the time, but a lot of the time, those negative feelings will just continue rather than cultivating positive reinforcements. We want to cultivate that feeling of I can do this and I can stick to the makeup no buy and I am capable. And if you can't move on from that feeling of failure, then that's going to be the problem. It's not so much the purchase, it's your feelings around the purchase. Breaking your no buy by buying one lip gloss is not a huge deal in the grand scheme of things. If you've been on a makeup no buy since January, if it's been 6 months of not buying any products and you just brought one new thing into your collection, it's fine. Like, don't get down on yourself. One new product should not be considered a failure in the light of everything that you have achieved so far. It's just really not going to help you mentally if you are constantly berating yourself and feeling guilty. I don't want you to feel that way. I want to be clear. Like, I want you to stick to your makeup no buy. But if you don't stick to the makeup no buy, I don't want you to hate yourself. That's not the goal here. It is to stick to the makeup no buy as far as is possible and like okay for you. Sitting in those negative emotions is going to make it more likely that you will buy products because, you know, you're feeling like, oh, I already messed up. What's one more lip gloss? I already bought one. You know, there's a 3-pack on sale. Why don't I just buy 3 more? Then it's 4. It's fine. I already made a mistake. You know, like, that is not going to help. Move on from that mistake. It was one mistake. Do not worry about it. You are fine. And if you feel like that is going to happen again, then just make an allowance for it. Say, okay, one mess up per month is fine. And actually, don't even frame it as a mess up. Frame it as one makeup purchase per month. If that is what's happened so far, if you messed up once per month, then just say, okay, this is a low buy now, or this is a no buy, but with the allowance of one makeup product purchase per month. Do what makes the most sense for you, okay? Makeup no buys have worked for me, but that is not to say that that is what is in your best interest. Do what works for you. Number 4 is to start new habits. So I did touch on this before, but I think for a lot of us, shopping is a habit. Back in the day, before my makeup no buy conscious consumerism journey, it was a habit to, whenever I went into Shoppers, which is our like big drugstore here, kind of like a CVS in the US, I would go straight to the makeup section. Like, I wouldn't go to Shoppers to get makeup. I would go to get whatever the heck it was I needed to get, but I would always make a stop in the makeup section because that was like the fun part of the errand, you know? And then gradually over time, I had to cut that out. I still had to go to Shoppers regularly, not right now because there is currently a boycott on. So I'm avoiding Shoppers. Canadians, you should do the same. And so then I changed it so that my habit was when I went to Shoppers, I avoided the makeup section entirely. And my habits changed in terms of like clothing shopping from shopping at American Eagle. Where did I even used to shop? Like Aerie, Zara, maybe a bit, to buying secondhand clothing. And so all of my shopping would be done at Plato's Closet and Common Sort. I mean, honestly, mainly it was Plato's Closet, a bit of like Value Village too. And now I do check out the makeup section at Shoppers sometimes because I'm okay with that. It's not going to make me mess up all my makeup no buy. And I don't even shop secondhand so much because what I do is a lot more clothing swaps. So just change your habits. Avoid Sephora. Avoid Shoppers. Change those habits so that if previously you would always go shopping with a friend, go just like for a coffee date with a friend or just go for a walk. And if whenever you wanted to try a new makeup trend, like what is trending right now even? Oh yeah, the boyfriend blush look where you just put blush like here, and maybe before you'd be like, ooh, I should get a new blush because I don't have the like perfect tone of blush for this boyfriend makeup look. Now instead play with what you have. That is kind of the good thing about all of these little trends like latte makeup or like strawberry girl makeup, that it's not prescribed products that you need to be using. You can just use what you have in your collection. So institute new habits where you play around with the makeup that you already have, where you don't shop as much. Change the focus on like makeup in your life from being about what you don't have to being about what you do have. My focus used to be on collecting new things and keeping up with makeup launches, and now my makeup focus is panning, using up what I have. So just shift your focus and shift your habits. And yeah, I highly recommend shifting your makeup focus to panning the products you already have, because it is a ton of fun. And yeah, you can check out my Project Pan videos if you would like. Okay, step 5 is to set specific goals. If you messing up on this makeup no-buy has made you realize that you can't stick to the no-buy as long as you can, then set goals in place that will allow you to do so, even if that means purchasing some products along the way. So if you are planning to stick to the makeup no-buy for the entirety of 2024, but you've already purchased 4 new products, then just allow yourself that grace. Say, okay, I know I'm going to want some new makeup because it's a new season, it's summer, but I cannot buy any new makeup products until the end of July. And then I will buy 1 makeup product, and then in August I will buy 1 makeup product. But set these goals in place so that will allow you to continue, because buying 10 makeup products over the course of the year when you plan to buy 0 is still better than whatever you were doing before, probably. If you have to switch to a no-buy, that is fine. Again, do what you gotta do. And a tip that I have is to really get to know your collection better, and also your usage timeline. So I know my makeup collection pretty well, but in recent years, I've dived deeper into finding out how long it takes me to finish a certain type of product, whether that's like a blush, a foundation, whatever. If you have 12 foundations in your collection, for example, and you finish 1 foundation over the course of the year, and you never tracked that before, but now you do because you're on this conscious consumerism journey, that tells you that you have enough foundation for 12 more years. Hopefully, figuring that out will dissuade you from buying more foundations, because you realize how much you have and how long you have to go until you actually need a new product. Now, of course, those foundations are going to expire before that 12-year mark, but just an example to show you that hopefully figuring out how long a product takes you to finish will convince you that you do not need more of that type of product. Really seeing those tangible numbers and calculating what you have can be helpful. And then also learn how big your collection actually is. You probably know like physically how much space it takes up, but do you know how many blushes you have? Like off the top of my head, I might guess, ooh, I have 6 powder blushes, but if I count them, I find out I actually have 12. This is not true, but again, just an example. Like when you're constantly bringing new products in, you're probably not counting them up. You're not counting them until you realize that the number of products that you have is a problem. The most recent video that I filmed was actually about my goal makeup collection, like the size of it. And so I counted out how many products I have in each category, and then I figured out how many products I think I actually should have, like what is ideal for me. For example, I have 4 blush palettes, but I like never reach for palettes. So my ideal number is actually 2. And this really puts into perspective what you are working towards and then how far you are from that. I have double the number of blush palettes that I need. That is a lot, and blush palettes obviously take a long time to finish because they're not just one single blush pan. They are 3 or they are 6 or whatever it is. So hopefully this perspective will help you recognize the need to actually go on that makeup no-buy and why you should stick to it by seeing the discrepancy between what you want and what you have. And hopefully this will help you get in touch with your goals and stick to the no-buy. So set those goals, figure out what those goals are, whether it be like, I can't buy a makeup product until this day, or I want 5 blushes and I have 7. Figure out those goals, which will help facilitate the no-buy. The final step is to have confidence in yourself. As I mentioned earlier, feeling really down in the dumps and like feeling negative emotions towards yourself and your failure of the makeup no-buy does not help. Believe in yourself. If you have been doubting that you could do it from the start of this no-buy, that's not a solid foundation on which to be on. You will do a lot better on the makeup no buy if you convince yourself that you can do this makeup no buy. So do what you gotta do, whether that's announce it publicly, tell your closest friends, write it in your journal. I can stick to the makeup no buy. I can stick to the makeup no buy. What is that called? Oh, affirmations. Do your affirmations because it will help. Believing in yourself is extremely important, and I do not want to discount that. This might seem strangely placed with all these other tips, but it is a very important part of makeup no buy. So that is it for today's video. I hope that this was helpful, whether you are on a makeup no buy or a makeup low buy. If you have questions, please let me know down below. If you would like more tips about sticking to the makeup no buy, I will link some of my other videos here. But I believe in you. You can do it. If you messed up, don't worry. You can get right back on track and factor those mess ups into the makeup no buy so that you don't feel bad about it. And now let's talk about a book that I have been reading lately. So I tried to talk about this in my last video actually, but I ran out of memory and then I was just like too tired to record that whole spiel again. So let's talk about it today because I've been a slow reader recently. But this is the book Behind You by Catherine Hernandez. I will insert a picture here. I read it in print, but then I took it back to the library this week. I love Catherine Hernandez. I've read all of her books. I highly recommend Scarborough. That is definitely her best book. I think I talked about it on the channel before. One of my favorite books of all time. So powerful, sad, but really touching. Anyways, this one is loosely inspired by a serial killer in Scarborough, but it is not about him. It is about the community and the way that he impacted the people in the community, and specifically the young women and girls, and the way they felt that fear that they had, because that was the demographic that he targeted. It's about a young Filipino woman named Alma and the struggles that she is going through. She's getting bullied at school. Her family is abusive towards her. So we sort of flash back and forth between her as a child and then her when she is older and has her own life, has her own child and her own wife and you know, a whole family and life and career, but how messed up she is because of what she went through when she was younger and the sort of environment that she was in. So this, it wasn't my favorite. I actually thought it could have used some more work and some more editing because it did feel kind of disjointed and the character needed a bit more work. I didn't believe everything about the present day. I thought that her being a child part of it was a lot stronger, but she's a great writer, so I would still overall recommend it. But that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you next week.